Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. So this is lecture number 4 of chapter Quadrilateral of class ninth. And before we start this lecture, before we go to what topics are we planning to cover in today's session, let us revisit the examination, the weightage of this particular chapter as far as school and competitive examination is concerned. So as far as school examination is concerned, the weightage of this chapter is you can expect questions around 3 to 4 marks, or you can say 3 to 5 marks question can be expected from this particular chapter. And when it comes to the IMO, means competitive examination, you can expect around 2 to 3 questions from this chapter. As it's a part of geometry, so it's very important chapter. Like geometry in ninth standard is quite important, so make sure that you understand each and everything here. And this is, I believe, one of the easiest topic that you have in the chapter Quadrilateral. So let's move ahead and see which topics are we planning to cover today. So the topics that we are planning to cover today are here. The first topic will be, we will be discussing what are the properties of rectangle. Then we are going to discuss the properties of a square. Then we will be discussing the properties of rhombus. We will be discussing the properties of kite. And then we will be discussing the midpoint theorem in the case of transversal. Basically, the first 4 topics that I mentioned here, they all are a special type of quadrilaterals, or to be more specific, you can say the first 4 things, that is rectangle, square, rhombus, and kite. These are 4 special type of parallelogram, you can say. Is that clear? So we are going to cover all these topics, and after every topic we will do problems as well to understand the application of the properties that we are going to cover in each of the cases, right? So I think we should move ahead and start. So the very first thing we have is the case of rectangle. The case of rectangle. So guys, rectangle is a special type of parallelogram. Okay. And what makes rectangle different from parallelogram, that those properties we are going to discuss here. The very first is all angles. Okay. All angles are right angles. Whenever you are talking about rectangle, all the angles are right angle. So that means here, if you see this figure that you have, angle A will be same as angle B, that will be same as angle C, that will be same as angle D, and all of them will be equal to 90 degree. Okay, if this is not true, you are not going to say that the given parallelogram to you, that's a rectangle in nature. All right, so all the angles as far as rectangle is concerned are always 90 degree. This you should keep in mind always. The second important point is opposite sides. Okay, they are equal in rectangle. The same is true in case of parallelogram as well, and that is the reason we also call it as a special type of parallelogram. So here, if you see this figure, in this figure you can easily see that which are the opposite sides we have. We have 2 pair of opposite sides. So AD is going to be equal to BC, as this is the first pair of opposite side. The second pair of opposite side is AB and DC. So these 2 pair of opposite sides, which you can see very clearly in the figure also, they are always equal. Okay. What's the third property? Third property is diagonals are congruent and bisect each other. Let us understand what's the meaning of congruent. Congruent means the diagonals that you have, they have equal length. Okay, so if I talk about property 3, property 3 says that the diagonals are congruent. That means the diagonals that we are discussing here, they have same length. So you can say that AC is equals to BD. That's the first thing you have. And apart from that, what are we provided? We are provided that they bisect each other. Bisect each other means this AC, which is one of the diagonal, BD, that's another diagonal, they bisect each other at this point O. So O is the point where these 2 diagonals are going to intersect each other, and they bisect as well to each other. So you will have AO is equal to OC. Okay, and both of them will be equals to half of AC. Apart from that, you are also going to have BO, that is equals to OD, and both of them will be equals to half of BD. That is what property number 3 says. Okay, if you move to property number 4, it says every rectangle is a parallelogram with at least one right angle. I told you, rectangle is a special case of parallelogram, or you can say it's a special type of parallelogram in which at least one angle, means minimum one angle, must be 90-degree. And what happens in if in any parallelogram at least one angle is right angle, then all the angles will automatically be right angle. What's the reason behind it? Because let's say angle A is 90-degree, then we know opposite angles in a parallelogram are same. So if A is 90-degree, C will be 90-degree automatically. Understood? So A and C became 90-degree. Now we also know that the sum of co-interior angles or the sum of adjacent angles in a parallelogram, that is always same, right? So what is that is always 180-degree. So if A is 90-degree, B will also be 90-degree, because A plus B is going to give you 180. And if B is 90-degree, D will be 90-degree. So eventually all the angles under consideration, they are going to become 90-degree. Okay. So it's a special type of parallelogram in which, broadly speaking, all the angles must be 90-degree. Okay. Then what is the area of rectangle? Area of rectangle is given by L into B. So if you assume the length of this rectangle to be A, okay, let's say if this is A, okay, and this is B, breadth, okay. So this will also be A. Then this AB will also be B. Okay. So what will happen? The area of this rectangle is given by L into B always. Okay. And after that we have perimeter. So we all know what is the meaning of perimeter. Whenever we are talking about perimeter, that means we are talking about the sum of length of all the boundaries that we have of rectangle. So if you talk about perimeter of this rectangle, which you can see on your screen, then perimeter means what? Perimeter means you have to add all the four sides. You will be getting AD plus DC plus CB plus BA. Okay. If you substitute the value, what will you get? You will get A plus B plus A plus B. So we have 2A and 2B respectively, right? So you can take 2 common to sort it out more. So you will be getting twice of A plus B. That is going to be the perimeter of the rectangle. So you can say the perimeter of the rectangle is always given by twice of length plus breadth. This is quite easy. We studied this in our junior sessions as well. We studied this in 8th standard, in 7th standard. Like, we already studied this. So these are, broadly speaking, like, these are the main properties that you all should be aware of whenever you are, or whenever we are discussing about rectangle. You can go through it. You have 30 seconds. If you have any doubt in any of the property, feel free to discuss with me before I tell you the application of this. Please check it. All right, done. Okay, check out. Now we have a problem that is based on the properties of rectangle. What does it say? It says if the length and the breadth of a rectangle are 8 centimeter and 5 centimeter respectively, then you have to find the area and the perimeter both for this rectangle under consideration. So it's super easy, isn't it? Let's say length, I'm going to denote by L. Let length be L, okay, and breadth be B. Okay, these are the symbols that we are using for L and B. Then what do we have? L is given to be 8 centimeter and B is provided to be 5 centimeter. Okay, then we have two cases, because they asked you what is the area and what is the perimeter. We all know that whenever you are talking about rectangle, the area is given by length into breadth, right? Length into breadth gives you area. So what will you get? You will have capital L is equal to L into B. If you substitute the value, you will get 8 into 5. So what will you get? You will be getting 40 centimeter square. Here, I would like to tell you one important point. See, calculating area is not a tough thing. That's super easy. That one point which I would like to tell you here is, do not forget to write the unit. If you miss writing unit, or if you miss mentioning the unit, then you are bound to lose some marks. So don't ever forget that. No matter whether you are calculating area, whether you are calculating perimeter, or whether you are calculating something else, unit is very important. Okay. Then we have case 2, in which we have to calculate perimeter. We all know what is perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter of a rectangle is given by 2 into length plus breadth. Okay, that's what the perimeter is. So what I'll be getting 2 into 8 plus 5, right? 2 into 8 plus 5 means 2 into 13. And what is 2 into 13? 2 into 13 is going to be 26 centimeter. Okay, so 26 centimeter is going to be the perimeter of the rectangle under consideration, and the area is going to be 40 centimeter square. Yes, that's what you should keep in mind. Okay. Yeah, you can go through it to understand it before we move ahead. And yeah, the what is that one thing which I would like to tell you? That one thing is, whenever you are talking about area, the unit will always have a square sign with it. Okay. Whenever you are talking about perimeter, you will always have centimeter or meter, because when you are talking about area, you are multiplying two values which are already in centimeter. Okay. But when you are calculating perimeter, you are actually adding, not multiplying. That's why like the unit remains centimeter or meter, or broadly I want to say that there is no square, or maybe like no cube sign. Okay. All right, check out the next thing. So this is the solution for your reference, guys. You can check. This is the way you should be presenting your answer in your examination. The length is provided, which they have denoted by A as 8 centimeter. Breadth is provided, denoted by B as 5 centimeter. And we have to calculate two things. One is area, the other one is perimeter. So we know that area is given by L into B, or length into breadth. So length is 5, length is 8, breadth is 5. So you will be getting 40 centimeter square as area. And whenever you are talking about perimeter, perimeter is always given by twice of length plus breadth. Okay, so you will be getting twice of 8 plus 5. That will give you 2 into 13, and 2 into 13 gives you 26 centimeter square. The answer is exactly same, but yeah, this solution helps you to know the way of presenting your answer in your school examination, or in next class you will be writing boards. So that is very important to fetch marks in board especially, right? So yeah, now we have a square, guys. We all know what a square is. We have seen it multiple times, right? Uh, so what happens in a square? When you are talking about a square, the first thing is all sides are congruent. All sides are congruent means all the sides have same length. That's the first thing. Okay. So what is the difference here in a square and rectangle? In rectangle, opposite sides were congruent, or opposite sides were equal. Here, all sides are congruent, or you can say they are equal. So you will be having AB is equal to BC, that's further equal to CD, that's equals to DA. Okay, that's your first property. When you are talking about second property, that second property is similar to what you studied in case of rectangle. Each interior angle measures 90 degree. That means all the angles which are there, or which are there in the square, they must be equals to 90 degree each. So you can observe that figure. In that figure, your angle A, angle B, angle C, angle D, all of them has to be 90 degree. Clear? What's the third thing you have? Third thing is diagonals are equal, and they are perpendicular bisector of each other. So they bisect, but here they are bisecting at 90 degree, which is an important point to note. So what does third point says? Third point says diagonals are same. You can easily show why diagonals are same by using Pythagoras theorem in two adjacent triangles. For example, if you use Pythagoras theorem in triangle ADC, you can calculate the value of this AC that you have in terms of the side of a square. And if you are talking about this triangle, which is DCB, then in this triangle, you can calculate this dB in terms of side, and you will observe that both of them are going to be exactly same. So what do we have here? You have AC, that's equals to BD. Clear? And apart from that, what do we have? The diagonals are bisecting at 90 degrees. So you will be getting AO is equal to OC, that will be equals to half of AC. And you will also be having BO, that is equals to OD, and that would be equals to half of BD, right? And also we have these angles, that is angle AOD, that is same as angle DOC, that is same as angle COB, that is same as angle BOA. So all these angles are equals to 90 degree. Okay, that's an important property because you will see many problems related to this particular property. What's the next property we have? Next is every square is a parallelogram. I told you we are discussing a special type of parallelograms in which diagonals are congruent. That means you take a parallelogram, and if in that parallelogram the diagonals have same length, means they are congruent, and they bisect the angles. Okay, they also bisect the angles means what? That means this angle that you have, it will be same as this angle, that can be shown. Okay, and similarly the bisection of other angle will also be taking place. Okay, then what do we have? You have every square is a rectangle and a rhombus. Every square is a rectangle and a rhombus. We can, like, we know that that's a very trivial thing. The most important points here are, what is the formula for the area of a square? The area of a square is always given by side square. You just need to multiply the side 2 times and you will get the area of the square under consideration. And if you are talking about perimeter, I told you when we are talking about perimeter, that means we are talking about the sum of length of all the 4 sides which are forming a square. So if you add all the 4 sides here, okay, here if you are talking about perimeter, then you need to add all the 4 sides. And because all the 4 sides, they are equal in length, let's say all the 4 sides have length x unit. Okay, they all have x unit as the length. Okay, so what will happen? Perimeter will be AB plus BC plus CD plus DA. So what will you get? You will get x plus x plus x plus x. So what will it give you? It will give you 4x. That means 4 into side. That gives you the perimeter of any square. Okay. So like these properties are very generic. They are very trivial in nature, very super easy to remember also. And also the more problems you will do, you will quickly get hold over these properties. Go through it, guys. Please go through it. Let me know if you have any doubt before we move ahead. All right, let's move ahead. So now we have the application of the properties that we discussed for square. Okay, what does it says? It says if the area of a square is 16 square centimeter, okay, what is the length of its side? That's the first part. Also find the perimeter of the square. Okay, so we are provided area here. Okay, so check out area of square. Area of square, that's equals to 16 centimeter square. This has been provided to us. Okay, let us assume side be x centimeter. Let side of square be x centimeter. Okay, then what will be the area? If in terms of x, then area of square, that will be x square centimeter square, right? x square centimeter square. Now the thing is, the area which is given to me, which is equals to 16 centimeter square, and the area that I calculated in terms of the side of the square, they both must be same because we are talking about the same square. So what we can do is we can equate 1 and 2. Okay. So from 1 and 2, what do I have? From 1 and 2, I will have x square is equal to 16. So what will I get? I will be getting x is equal to square root of 16, which is equal to 4 centimeter, because we are talking about the length of the side of a square. So you have to consider only positive value. So we got the answer of our first part. Like, what is the length of its side? The length of its side is 4 centimeter. Understood? The second part is you have to find out the perimeter of the square. Okay. So we all know what is the formula for the perimeter of a square. So whenever we are talking about perimeter of a square, what happens? The perimeter of a square is always given by 4 into side. 4 into side. So what will you get? You will get 4 into 4. Okay. So you will be getting 16 centimeter. That is going to be the perimeter of this square. That's it. See how easy it is. Right? So we got the length of the side, which is 4 centimeter, and the perimeter, which is equals to 16 centimeter. Understood? Please check it and let me know in case of any doubt. All right, done. Let's move ahead. This solution has been provided for your reference, guys. You can go through it. Let me highlight the important things here. Area was given to us, which was 16 centimeter square. We know that area of a square is side square. They equated it, and after equating and solving it, they got the side of a square as 4 centimeter. We all know what is the formula for the perimeter of a square. That's 4 into side. They substituted the value, and hence they got the perimeter of a square, which is nothing but 16 centimeter. Okay. All right, so now what do we have? We have rhombus. Okay, we have rhombus. So in rhombus as well, the very first property says that all the sides are congruent. So this first property of rhombus is very similar to the first property of square. So all the sides have same length. You will have AB, that's equals to BC, that's equal to CD, that is further equals to DA. Okay. Then what do we have? This second property is very important. Okay. Why? Because you will see questions related to it in your school examination as well as your board exam, a competitive examination as well. Okay. So the diagonals are perpendicular bisector of each other. That means if I call the point of intersection as O, you will have AO is equal to OC, and this AO is equal to OC, and you will have BO is equals to OD, and they both will bisect each other at 90 degree. Okay. So this property says, second property, it says you will be having, like, this is also similar to square. You have AO is equals to OC, that's equals to half of AC. Apart from that, you will have BO, that is equals to OD, that will be half of BD. Okay. And you will have, and you all the angles will be 90 degree. You will have AOD, that's equals to DOC, that's equals to COB, that's equals to BOA. So all of them will be same. Okay. What does third property says? It says each diagonal that we have, okay, each diagonal is the angle bisector of both the opposite angles. What does that mean? That means this diagonal, if I'm talking about diagonal AC, guys, then this diagonal is going to bisect angle A and angle C. Understood? If I'm talking about this diagonal BD, it is going to bisect angle B and it is going to bisect angle D. That's what it says. Then every rhombus is a parallelogram. We know that, and a kite with all the sides of equal length. Kite we are going to cover in the upcoming, in the next slide. The other important properties that you should know is this one. That is what is the formula for area of rhombus. That is very important. Okay. So the area of rhombus is, let's say it is denoted by A, that is half of the product of diagonal, where D1 and D2 represent diagonal. So if I'm talking about this particular figure which is given to me, then I can say that area of this rhombus a b c d that I have, that will be equals to 1 by 2 into product of diagonals, and here the diagonals have been denoted by AC and BD respectively. So area of ABCD will be 1 by 2 into AC into BD. Okay, that's what the area of ABCD would be. The last point we have is the perimeter of a rhombus is equals to 4a units. Okay, that's exactly same, because here again all the sides have same length, and because all the sides have same length, and when we are talking about perimeter, that means we have to add the length of all the sides. If you add the length of all the sides, you will be getting 4 into side only. So perimeter, that will be AD plus DC plus CB plus BA. Okay, and all of them are X, so you will be getting X plus X plus X plus X. So you will be getting 4X, that is 4 into side. Okay, that is going to be the perimeter of rhombus. So perimeter, just keep this one point in mind, that whenever you are talking about perimeter, that simply means we are talking about the sum of length of all the four sides which are forming the quadrilateral. Understood? Any doubt, guys? Please go through them. All right, let's move ahead. Okay, so here we have the application, guys. Check out. The two diagonal lengths D1 and D2 of rhombus are 6 centimeter and 12 centimeter respectively. They are asking you the area. Super easy, isn't it? Okay, here, what are we provided? So let diagonals be D1 and D2. Let diagonals of rhombus be D1 and D2. Okay, then what do we have? Then we know the value of D1 and D2. What is D1? D1 is equal to 6 centimeter. And what is D2? D2 is equals to 12 centimeter. Okay. And we know that what is the formula for the area of rhombus? We know that area that you have of rhombus, that is always given by 1 by 2 into product of diagonals. 1 by 2 into product of diagonals. So here the diagonals are denoted by D1 and D2 respectively. So you are going to get 1 by 2 into D1 into D2. Okay. So you will be getting 1 by 2 into 6 into 12. This 2 will cancel this 6 3 times. So you will be getting 36 centimeter square as the area of this rhombus. That's it. Here we were already provided the length of diagonal. Because we were provided the length of diagonal, so it was very easy for us. It was very easy for us to calculate the area. We just have to apply the formula, which is 1 by 2 into product of diagonal, and we got our area. Please go through it. Ask me if you have any query. All right, done. Okay, so you can check the solution here as well. We have diagonal D1, which is 6 centimeter, D2 that is 12 centimeter. Area is half into product of diagonals. So we substituted the value. You got 6 into 12 by 2, which is 72 by 2, and that is nothing but 36. So 36 centimeter square is the area of the rhombus under consideration here. Understood? All right. So what do we have next? We have next kite. We all are aware of this thing. काइट पतंग हम लोगों ने बहुत उड़ाई है बचपन में, अब भी उड़ाते हैं जब भी मौका मिलता है. So what are the properties of kite? The first property is two distinct pair of adjacent sides are congruent. That means they are of same length. So if you observe this figure which is given to you, then two distinct pair of adjacent sides are congruent. That means they are equal. What does that mean? Here in this figure, you have AB is equals to BC. Okay. And apart from that, you have AD is equal to DC. That's what the meaning of first property is. Okay. Now, what is second thing? Diagonals of a kite intersect at right angle. What does the meaning of that? That means the two diagonals which you are provided here, they are perpendicular to each other. Okay. So you can say that AC that you have, it is perpendicular to BD. That is what the second point says. What does the third point says? This is an important point which you should keep in mind. One of the diagonal is perpendicular bisector of another diagonal. In other words, if I have to say it, I can say the longer diagonal that I have. So if you observe this figure, in this figure, the longer diagonal you have is BD. So that longer diagonal, it always bisect the smaller diagonal. Bisection means it is going to divide this smaller diagonal, which is AC, in two equal parts. So you are going to have AO that is equals to CO. Understood? That's what the meaning of property number 3 is, that the longer diagonal that you have in kite, that is going to bisect the smaller diagonal always. Okay. So you will be having BD bisects AC. Okay. That is, you will have AO that is equals to OC, and that will be equals to half of AC. Understood? Angles between unequal sides are equal. You know what's the meaning of this? Angle between unequal sides are equal. What are the unequal sides we have? We have here, these two are unequal side. One second. Let me show you. Okay. This is one of the side AD. And if you consider this side AB, these two sides that you have, they are unequal. And the angle between them is this angle, which is DAB. Similarly, if you consider this side DC and this side BC, then this is the angle between these two unequal sides. So these two angles that you have between the unequal side, they will always be equal. So you are going to have angle BAD that is same as angle BCD. Remember this. Okay. So these are the four major properties which makes a quadrilateral or a parallelogram a kite. Okay, sorry, quadrilateral a kite. All right. So this is the last thing, important thing for your competition as well as school, I would say. Okay. Midpoint theorem for transversal. Super easy. And you will understand it better through example that I will be taking after this. This is quite important. Okay. What does it says? It says if a transversal, okay, here this is the transversal we have AF, okay, makes equal intercept on three or more parallel lines, okay, then any other transversal cutting them will also make equal intercept. You know what are they trying to say? They are trying to say that if you are talking about, let's say, this transversal, that is, let us consider we are talking about AC, okay. If this AC makes equal intercept on here, equal intercept means if we have AB is equal to BC, then you have got two more transversal. And what are those two more transversals here? The other two transversals are AF and DF respectively. Okay. If you read this statement says that other true than any other transversal cutting through them will also make equal intercept. What is the meaning of that? That means if I'm talking about this transversal AF, sorry, this AF is also going to make equal intercept. Okay, what does that mean? That means AG will be equal to GF. And if I'm talking about DF here, this DF is also going to make equal intercept. What does that mean? You are going to have DE is equals to EF. Okay, that's what it says. And what's the logic behind it? What is the reason behind it? That we are going to see in the upcoming problem, because the next problem that we are going to have based on midpoint theorem for transversal, that is basically the illustration of this. Okay, What does the second point written over here says? The second point says it means that given any three mutually perpendicular lines, a line passing through them forms intercept in the corresponding ratio of the distance between the line. Yeah, that's the same thing, exactly same thing they are trying to say. So here you will be having AB is equals to BC. This AG is same as GF. This DE will be same as EF. The next problem that I'll be taking, that will make it more clear to you, like what is the exact reason behind it, or why are they saying this, that we are going to see. And in that we will be using our midpoint theorem. I hope you all remember the midpoint theorem and the converse of midpoint theorem that we covered in our lecture number 1. Okay, so let me take that problem to make you understand this better. Let's say here you can see this problem. It says prove that if three parallel lines make equal intercept on one transversal. Okay, so what are we given here? We are given that this line AD, that is parallel to BE, that is parallel to CF. Okay, make equal intercept on one transversal. Let's say this intercept is same. Okay, so I am writing what are we provided. We are provided, let me call this line as L, this as M, and this as N. So we are given line L is parallel to line M, which is further parallel to N, or in other words you can say these three lines are parallel to one another. Okay, apart from that, what are we provided? The second thing we are provided is it is making an equal intercept on one of the transversal. That is, you have AB is equals to BC. Okay, these two things are given to us. If this is provided to you, then they will make equal intercept on any other transversal as well. What do you have to show? You have to show that this intercept that you have, which is DE and EF, they will also be same. Okay, so you have to show, what do you have to show? You have to show that this we have, that is, you can say FE, that will be same as ED. Okay, that means these lines that you have, they are going to make equal intercept on the other transversal as well. So here a construction needs to be done, guys. Here we need to do one construction. And what is that construction? You can either join AF or you can join CD. That's entirely up to you. Let me join AF. And whenever you do any construction, is always better to use dotted line to show that this is the construction from your side. So join AF. Okay. Now let us move to proof. So we will be using converse of midpoint theorem here to prove our result. Let's see how we can do that. So basically now we have two triangles. One of the triangle is triangle ACF. The other triangle is ADF. So we will consider both the triangles one by one. Okay? Let's see. So if I talk about triangle ACF. So in triangle ACF, what do we have? We already have AB is equal to BC. What is the meaning of that? That means B is the midpoint of AC. And what do we have apart from this? You already have this, if I call this as, let's say, P. You already have BP that is parallel to CF, right or not? Because M is parallel to N and BP is a small part of line M, and CF is a small part of line N. So they will also be parallel to each other. Therefore, can we say by converse of midpoint theorem, can we say that P will be midpoint of AF? We can say that by converse of midpoint theorem, you are going to have AP is equals to PF. This is your result number 1. AP is equals to PF. Understood? That's your first result. Okay. So we applied the converse of midpoint theorem first in triangle ACF, because we were already given that B is a midpoint of AC and we know that BP that you have, that is parallel to CF. So by converse of midpoint theorem, you are going to have AP that is same as PF. Okay. Now we are going to move to the other triangle. So if I consider triangle AFD, okay. In triangle AFD, AP is equals to PF, right or not, from first result? From first result. Okay. And what do we have? You have PE that is parallel to AD. Why? Because line M is parallel to line L. So APE will also be parallel to AD because P is a part of M and AD is a part of L. So by converse of midpoint theorem, of midpoint theorem, what do we have? By converse of midpoint theorem, what will you have? You will have PE, sorry, by converse of midpoint theorem, you will have E as the midpoint of, or you will have DE, one second, you will have FE is equals to ED, right? Or you can say, E is midpoint of DF. Okay, and that is exactly what we were supposed to show in this problem, and that's exactly what the midpoint theorem for the transversal says. Understood? बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है फॉर योर बोर्ड एग्जामिनेशन, फॉर योर कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशन, दोनों एग्जाम के लिए काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत फ्रीक्वेंटली इससे क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं. सो आप इसको अच्छे से रिवाइज करना. So, like, it's quite easy, just the practice which is needed. You can go through it. I'm giving you 30 seconds. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. All right, clear? Okay. So this solution is for you. You can go through it, guys, in your free time. So these are the three questions that you have to practice as a homework. First is find the perimeter of a rectangle whose sides are this and this. Very easy. You know the formula for perimeter, which is twice of L plus B. We can easily get it. The second one is let a square have side equal to 6 centimeter. Find its area and perimeter. Again, formula based problem. The third is find the diagonal of a rhombus if area is 121. So they ask you here the problem in indirect way, but I believe you can easily do it because you know what is the formula for the area of rhombus, and the length of measure of its longest diagonal is 22 centimeter. So that's, you can easily do it. So these three problems you have to try as a homework, guys. And in case you are not able to do them, feel free to discuss with your subject expert. He will be able to help you out with that. So let us quickly discuss what all we covered today. We covered the properties of some special type of quadrilaterals. The first one was rectangle. We covered the properties of rectangle, then a problem based on it. We covered the properties of rhombus, problem based on it. Properties on square, problem based on it. Properties of kite, and the midpoint theorem for the transversal we covered, and we did a problem based on it. I hope you all understood what all we have done today. If you still have any query, any doubt, feel free to get in touch with an IIT-JEE expert. We will definitely help you out. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great day.